Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into something truly wild. It's a vision that ties together a multi-billion-dollar tech startup, ancient myths, and some incredibly raw stories of survival. And get this, it all came from just one really intense phone call.
So, we're just existing particles that happen to be able to shimmer like Time Lords. Let's just sit with that for a second. This quote, it's the perfect way to kick things off because it really gets at the huge cosmic scale of the ideas we're going to unpack. It's all about a philosophy that sees our lives as this brief but super powerful shimmer in a massive connected universe.
So, how are we going to make sense of all this? Well, we're going to break it down piece by piece. Think of it in 4 parts. First, a high-tech business plan. Then, a pretty radical theory about consciousness. After that, a guiding myth or parable. And finally, the personal stories that really ground everything in real, lived experience.
Okay, so I know this all sounds super abstract, right? But the crazy thing is, this whole vision actually starts with something surprisingly concrete. A business plan for a totally new kind of tech company.
And the team they're proposing? It's like a dream team. Seriously, they're pulling in experts from all over. You've got the famous mycologist Paul Stamets, the psychedelic documentarian Hamilton Morris, and even brainpower from Stanford's Cognitive Tools Lab. The idea is to get all these brilliant minds collaborating.
Now, at the heart of this whole thing is a new AI model, and it's housed in what they call the Recursive Vector Interference Lab. I know, that name is a mouthful, but it's not just tech jargon. It's actually a huge philosophical clue. The best way to think about it is like ripples in a pond, right? When they cross over, they interfere with each other. The big idea here is that our own consciousness and information itself works in these same looping, intersecting patterns.
And get this, the ambition here is absolutely massive. I mean, the number being thrown around for this project is a jaw-dropping $4 billion. A number like that tells you one thing. They're not just trying to build another app. They're aiming to fundamentally reshape reality as we know it.
So you gotta ask, right? What in the world do you do with $4 billion? What's the goal? Well, that brings us to the absolute core idea behind this whole thing, something called cognitive terraforming. Yeah, cognitive terraforming. It's a wild concept. You know how in sci-fi they talk about terraforming a planet like Mars to make it livable? Well, apply that same idea to the human mind. The goal is to use technology and new ways of teaching to completely reshape the environment of our consciousness, to change the very soil our beliefs grow in. So, how do you actually do that? Well, the key, according to this theory, is getting to what they call relaxed beliefs. The idea is that in certain states, and yeah, psychedelics are mentioned, our usual mental defenses, our ego, kind of lowers its guard. And when that happens, the mind becomes super receptive to new core ideas. They call them priors, that can literally rewire your entire worldview. And that's where the AI comes in. It's supposed to act as a safe guide through that whole process. And this really lays out the end game. It's all about a massive shift, moving our collective mindset away from what's called a war machine, a system built on competition, on conflict, on rigid beliefs, and moving it towards something totally different, a loving network that's all about cooperation and mutualism, a completely different way of being.
Now, to back up a huge philosophical shift like this, you need more than just tech. And this vision does not disappoint. It pulls in a really powerful, ancient story to help us completely rethink our ideas about morality.
The story is about a mystical figure from Islamic tradition, Al-Qadir, sometimes called the Green One. He's known as the mysterious teacher of Moses. And this isn't just any teacher. The idea is that Al-Qadir operates on a totally different cosmic frequency. He exists way beyond our normal human understanding of right and wrong.
And the story itself is the whole point. So check this out. Moses insists on learning from Al-Qadir. Al-Qadir warns him, look, you're not going to have the patience for this, but he agrees on one condition. Moses can't ask any questions. But then, Al-Qadir starts doing things that look straight up cruel and senseless. And Moses, well, he can't help himself. He questions the teacher 3 times. After the 3rd time, Al-Qadir dismisses him. But before he goes, he reveals the hidden, higher purpose behind every single one of those seemingly evil acts. It was a divine logic that was just completely invisible from Moses' limited point of view. And this quote just nails the lesson, right? When we think that we're operating out of a sense of morality, we don't understand the subsurface. It's this idea that our human sense of right and wrong might be incredibly limited, that there's a deeper, subsurface logic happening all around us. And what looks like total chaos to us
could actually be part of a much bigger plan, a higher good that we just can't see.
Okay, so we've got AI labs, ancient mystics. This is all pretty out there. So how does any of this connect to the real, messy world we live in? Well, the answer comes from a series of really intense, really personal stories.
The person this worldview comes from, their life has been filled with these gritty, unbelievable experiences, stories from a life lived right on the edge. We're talking exploring abandoned subway tunnels, dodging the cops, navigating all sorts of underground scenes. This stuff isn't just theory from a book, it's a philosophy that was literally forged in the fire of real-world chaos.
And one of the most powerful stories is about a person named Amber. I mean, just look at this timeline. At 13, after her dad dies, she's living with a gang in her backyard. By 15, she's taking advanced college classes just to get by. Then, at 18, her mom gets out of prison and her mom's boyfriend traps her in a garage and beats her. Her escape is just incredible. She literally punches her way through a wall, hotwires a phone to call for help, and gets out of there.
This kind of personal history, it feels like the real heart of this entire worldview. You see the connection? It's a life spent surviving those exact subsurface dangers that the story of Al-Qadir was talking about. It's a life where you had to trust some deeper instinct, something beyond normal logic, just to make it through impossible situations.
All right, we've looked at the business plan, the theory, the ancient myth, and the personal history. So now let's try to tie all these threads together and figure out what it all means.
So we're left with this really fascinating question, right? What is the connection between a $4 billion AI lab, an ancient mystic, and a harrowing story of survival? How do these pieces fit?
What we've really been looking at are the building blocks of a massive worldview. You've got this high-tech ambition, you've got psychedelic theory, it's all grounded in ancient myth, and then the whole thing is powered by the raw energy of personal trauma and this incredible story of survival.
And that brings us to the final, really big question. Is what we're seeing here a blueprint for a new reality? Is this a genuine plan to cognitively terraform all of us? Or is it a deeply personal myth? You know, a complex story that one person built to make sense of a chaotic life. And maybe, just maybe, the most interesting answer is that it isn't one or the other. Maybe it's both.